Be the exception. The dog days of summer is a real phenomenon that affects every human spirit. Dictionary.com goes on to say that this is a period marked by lethargy, inactivity, and indolence. So what does this cause? Well, American Express Open Forum did an extensive research project that documented during the dog days of summer, workplace productivity plummets a full 20%. 20! Now, you have to understand the ramifications of that number. That number compounds across your entire team. On top of that, horrifying statistic are these. Employee attendance drops by 19%. This, of course, breaks the rhythmic consistency chain. And then projects take, on average, 13% longer. The same projects worked on by the same number of people at another time of the year during the summer takes 13% longer. Now, check this out. As a business, you are not paying 20% less for people to produce 20% less. You are still paying 100%. And you are not paying 19% fewer workdays. You are paying for all of them. And you are not getting a 13% discount on projects that took longer than they should. You are paying extra for that extra time those projects are taking. If that doesn't get you all riled up, let me add these harsh reality stats. This will freak you out and your HR director and your CFO. During the summer months, lunch hours increase 2.6 times. Personal shopping during work hours increases 200%. Planning personal trips increases 130%. Oh, and get this. Searching for another job while on your job increases 120%. How's that for a stab and then twist in the heart? We're going to prevent the death of your Mo. So how is that possible? If you can implement strategies to keep momentum, keep production stable during those months, man, that would give you a huge advantage over your competitors and your ability to achieve your big, hairy, and audacious goals. So when everyone else is wiping tears from their eyes, having failed on their goals once again, at the end of December, you are partying like it's 1999 or something like that. What I want you to do is get a baseline on your vital metrics. If you're a business, pull your core KPIs, or what I call vital metrics, for each of the 4 quarters of the year. If you can collect them for the past few years, do so. And take a look. How has quarter 3 been by comparison to the other quarters of the year? Better or worse, at least you know your numbers and what numbers you want to beat. If you are an individual, you have vital metrics too. Whatever vital metrics are associated with your job role. Take a look at what you have been doing during quarter 1 and quarter 2 of this year so far. You'll at least know your numbers and what you want to beat, or at least minimum stay on par with. Even outside of your job role, what are your vital metrics? The number of workout days, or the number of healthy eating days, or the number of steps that you're taking per day, the number of nights home for dinner with the family. Whatever you deemed your vital behavior metrics, get your baseline. So in the worksheet, I walk you through this process. Having these numbers at the start of your adventure will be important. I think this first strategy is going to surprise you, particularly after what I have outlined for you. So are you ready? You sure? Okay, let's kick this off doggy style. Step number 1, go on vacation. Yep. Come on, man, it's summer and you're human and you've got this one life to live. So live it, man. And maybe more importantly, well, to the productivity obsessed person like me, understand that vacation, time to rest, time to replenish, time to rejuvenate and revitalize are essential for our human system to operate at its highest level of productivity and performance. So I'm asking you to go on vacation so that you could be more productive and that you can operate at higher performance. Just as the most finely engineered Formula One race car needs to come in for pit stops to refill its gas, replenish its fluids, and refresh its tires, so do the rest of us. But sadly, based on the way our, and this is probably mostly American culture has evolved, the need for recovery is often viewed as evidence of weakness rather than an integral aspect of growth and sustained performance. I mean, hey, I know this personally, as this was what was taught in my household as well. But the reality is, if we relentlessly spend our energy without sufficient recovery, we become mental, emotional, and spiritual flatliners. We slowly but undeniably wear down and become ineffective and unproductive, no matter how much you continue to run around looking busy and quote-unquote productive. So let me be clear here for these high-achieving minded people who have been conditioned by this American culture imprinting. about working hard and grinding it all the time and not taking any rest. I am not arguing that you need to take a vacation to better enjoy life or to find your bliss or to have life balance. No, I'm telling you, you need to take a vacation and get some rest and recovery as an important component of hardcore achievement and productivity. And when you are working 80 hours a week, your mind gets cluttered and stale, like a pressure cooker. If you don't give your mind some time to clear some of the steam out, it will boil over, causing the ailments that I just mentioned and loss of effectiveness and real productivity. To perform, you have to feel fresh and energized. That's part of performance. It is not a good strategy to steal time away from your recovery time. Recovery is essential to operating at the level of your best self. So if you want to increase your productivity, go on vacation, or more to the point, plan your play. Schedule your summer fun. Utilize the great weather, the long days, the outdoor concerts, the backyard cookouts to get your R&R that you need so that you can have a full tank of what you need when you are back at the office going at full speed. Are you ready for step 2 on how to beat the dog, the disaster, or the lethargy, inactivity, or indolence of the dog star known as the dog days of summer? The big problem here is that the downshifting takes place mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and physically. The dog star's good summer vibrations are bad for our productive mojo. It's almost like voodoo. Most people don't even know that they're distracted more and less engaged in their work. So here's what you need to do. You need to teach inside your office and what you need to reinforce in behavior. Instead of having 5 gears, have a switch. And with that switch, you are either fully on or you are fully off. When you're at work, doing your work, be on. And I mean fully on. And when you are not at work, doing your work, hear me now, be off. Be fully off. Jim Rohn used to explain, during the summer, when it's warm and sunny outside, I'd be in my office feeling guilty that I wasn't taking my family to the beach. Then when I finally took my family to the beach, I sat on the beach thinking about the office. He said, I wasn't any good at the office or at the beach. He taught I had to learn that when you're at the office, be at the office and don't be thinking about the beach. And then when you're at the beach, be fully at the beach. See, you can't do that unless you know that you have already scheduled your time off. It gives you the mental and emotional peace to fully invest yourself during office time and during off time. I'm suggesting that you schedule in all those other summer fun activities. You know, the beach days, the outdoor concerts, the hikes, the picnics, the backyard barbecues, and the pool parties. Once you have them scheduled, now you can stop thinking about them at work. It will literally release you to be fully focused during the time that it is time to work. So step number 3, to make sure that you work with the dog star and not against it, and to reinforce step 1 and 2, number 3 is this: fully unplug. When you leave the office, cut the proverbial cord. You cannot get into a mental, emotional, and psychological rejuvenating REM state unless you fully disconnect. Look, even if you just quickly check your email while standing in line, waiting for your wife to come out of the dressing room at the mall, or standing in your kitchen, you are immediately transported mentally, emotionally, psychologically back to the office. And its stresses and anxieties and pressures rebuild in your frenetic system. Do not kid yourself that you can just sneak a peek for a second and it won't disturb your rest or time off. It absolutely does. And then you have to begin the cycle of recovery all over again. Speaking of kids, get your kids to fully unplug with you and the family as a whole. This is A-Team member Julie and her kids dropping their phone into the basket before family night starts. The look on their faces shows how much they love that. This is why most people never recharge. Even if they are so-called taking time off, they aren't really. This is why most people feel overwhelmed, overstressed, perpetually exhausted, even when in reality, they aren't really doing much more at the office than anyone else has in the past. In fact, here's the stark reality. Leisure time has grown significantly over the last 50 years. We have more time off than at any time in human history. I know it doesn't feel like it, and that's the point. Because you keep jumping in and out of the office, mentally, all day long, even during your so-called leisure time. This keeps you from truly ever getting your brain off the grid. And it's you doing it to yourself. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to put an autoresponder on your email and let everyone know that you're not available at all, and to recontact you at the date that you will be back on, if their message is still important then. I know that this is hard. I know that you've been blowing it on this discipline, but take the unplugged challenge. When you end the day, I want you to unplug fully. Nothing life-threatening happens in off-business hours that can't wait until morning. So now, number 4 is another adjustment you can make to acknowledge and leverage the natural rhythms of the season. Strategy number 4 is to create a special summer schedule. In fact, what's most important to employees and team members during the summer months is a flexible schedule. On a wide national survey, 41% of respondents said that was the most important thing to team members during the summer, a flexible schedule. So flexible schedule was followed by being able to come in early and leave early on Fridays. That was 28%. Then the next was the company picnic at 11%. A picnic. Who knew that, right? Although you could look at it the other way around, and I probably would, and see that 9 out of 10 people didn't pick the picnic. Right, A-team? They didn't pick the picnic, but that's just me. All right. Then lastly is a relaxed dress code at 5%. Your dress and the environment around you informs your attitude and behavior. If people are waddling around in flip-flops and ripped Daisy Dukes, apparently those are back in, much to my chagrin, chances are they're not going to be fully in work jamming mode. In fact, I read something in psychological science stressing the importance of not letting it get warmer inside the office during summer months. It explained how the room temperature inside the office should remain at the right temperature for working, which is 70 to 72 degrees, in order to keep everybody's psychological focus. And that's what we're trying to harness here, everybody's psychological focus, which is what we've been talking about. So speaking of being able to keep your psychological focus in the summertime, these are by far the greatest focus, productivity, and killing saboteurs of all. Yeah, your children. The inmates have been freed from the prison or government-subsidized daycare and are now running wild inside your house, getting into all sorts of unscheduled, unplanned, and random shenanigans. One of the biggest challenges most workers face is juggling their kids and their kids' summer schedules during these summer months, when their typical built-in daycare, that's called school, is obsolete. Now their kids are out of school and they begin terrorizing their lives, requiring more time and attention from their parents. This is particularly challenging if you work from home, and now you have your kids all up in your grill all day, every day. That sign that says you're in a jam session, like the one you see here with A-team member Brenda, she puts up on her home office door here. Yeah, well, they mostly just ignore that entirely. There are just 2 to 3 inches of wood separating you from them. Knowing that you are only 4 or 5 feet away, that ain't stopping those relentless, unabashed terrorists. I mean, tykes. You certainly can try, and you should try, and teach them your on and off boundaries, and try to discourage them from interrupting, calling, or texting you frequently throughout the day when you're at the office. But really, the only way that you can accomplish this is to make arrangements for your kids, like daycare or summer camp. If they are old enough to watch themselves and will be at home and you work from home, then you might need to be the one to leave home and work elsewhere during your on times. Escape to the library, that's one of my favorite places, or work down at your local Starbucks. Rent somebody else's unused conference room. See if there's a WeWork in town. Check into a motel room nearby. Hey, I know that sounds weird, but that's what Maya Angelou used to do when she wanted to write her poetry. J.K. Rowling would check into a 5-star hotel to get her work done out of the house. But really, any quiet room where they can't find you is good enough. Otherwise, it is a productive nightmare of constant and ceaseless distractions, always pulling you out of flow and in your jam session momentum. Now, one of the biggest mistakes would-be achievers make during any time of the year is walking into their day with an empty calendar. Oh, sure, you have to-do lists and stacks of unfinished projects on your desk. But if you walk into your office without a set agenda for your day, the day will set your agenda for you. You end up the whipping boy or whipping girl to every email and text message and knock at the door and casual passing hallway or chit-chat conversation. The day runs you instead of you running the day. And for most people, this happens most every day. The issue right here is the fatal mistake that talented, seemingly dedicated, and ambitious people make. You want to produce more. You want to achieve your goals. But in the absence of a set agenda, one designed around your vital priorities that are in alignment with your vital functions and your big 3 goals for the year and what's important to you and your family's future, you just spin. I call it the rocking horse syndrome. Oh, you're rocking hard all day, working yourself into a sweat, into a stress, overwhelm, and exhaustion, but getting nowhere. It's movement without progress. It's rushing around without results. And it's activity without actual results of productivity. And it's the way most people spend their day most every day. You have to plan your day. Even if you don't have actual appointments, blocking time out to do important projects that have hard boundary walls where that's all you're doing that block period of time is crucial. So the number one tool to keep yourself fully on when it's game time in the office is your calendar and you determining what's on it and filling it up with your goals and objectives, even if that's scheduling the time to not be doing anything except thinking, planning, and reviewing. Knock at the door. Are you available? Nope. I'm in a meeting. With yourself. Thinking, planning. Jim Rohn taught me this. Before you start your day, finish it on paper. Identify the needle-moving vital priorities and schedule unmovable appointments on your calendar to get those things done, to move the needle of results. Structure your schedule like a college professor. As a college professor, your vital function is to teach your classes, right? Of course. That means that during those hours, which is 90% of your time, you're not available for outside appointments. You can't take a phone call or text or get distractions of any kind. You are in class. Then you have what are called set office hours. It is only during those periods where unplanned knocks at the door or emails or text messages or phone calls can be received. So this means your office hours aren't all the hours that you're in the office, just 1 or 2 that you will accept unscheduled office visits or distractions. Here is a key distinction. Prioritize output over hours. It is not the number of hours that you work, but what gets produced during each hour. Measure results outputted versus hours inputted. Did you get that? It's a good one. It's what you showed up for here today. So let me give it to you again. Measure results outputted versus hours inputted. And I suggest that you change this metric for your team too. Don't get clear on the number of hours that they will need to spend working during the summer schedule. Get clear on the number of results they need to produce during the summer timeframe. You are not paying for hours. You are paying for results, for output, for production. So make that the measured metric, not the hours. If you keep a focus on results, I promise you, you and your team can dramatically reduce the time it takes to produce those results. And this means more time for summertime fun and still increased results. Speaking of less time, let's give you a 3-day weekend every weekend during the summer. Here's how. Instead of 5 8s, do 4 10s. If you're carving out the hours when you will be fully on so that you can be fully off when you're not, there's great power in compressing more intensity into fewer days. And remember, leaders, for most positions, you are paying for results, not for hours. Keep your priority where it matters. These aren't inmates doing time. These are high-producing achievers delivering results and moving the needle for your organization to achieve your mission. Here's why this is a productivity superpower. Once you get into flow, you know that state of flow when everything is in sync. Once you get into flow with your head and your heart fully immersed in the work, the craft, the art, it's more powerful to go deeper, go harder, go longer during those compressed hours and compressed days than it would be to stop and start spread out over more days. Now, these aren't just the 10 hours that you might be working now, where half or 2/3, if you're lucky, are eaten up by trivial, reactionary, busy work. I'm talking about 10 hours of scheduled, uninterrupted, head down, insanely productive hours. Hours spent on your vital functions, not the inane, frivolous, busy work that occupies most people's days. And spiritually and energetically, it is easier and more powerful to do 4 days hard when you know that you have 3 days totally free and completely unencumbered. It is the ultimate in high intensity, followed by rest and recovery, interval training that the elite among us do. And the ultimate in hard work and good reward dynamic of human motivation and performance. It is a powerful practice. You will even surprise yourself on how much you can get done in 4 tens fully focused. And you'll be surprised how awesome, fired up, and raring to go again you will feel after 3 solid days completely off the grid of having fun, being with your family, enjoying your hobbies, and soaking up some of the summertime fun. So if you have the gumption and you utilize tips 5 and 6 before this, give this strategy a test drive this summer. Do a few weeks of 4 tens. I promise you'll love it. And you might not do it during the rest of the year, but it is a great summertime adaptation. Your family will love it too. This is strategy number 8. So probably about once a month, sometimes twice a month, if I really have to crank out some work, I do what I call a Monday jumpstart. This is where I will go to bed a bit earlier on Sunday night and get up about 3 or 4 in the morning and get a huge jumpstart on the week. Oh man, there is just something special about the deafening quiet that really allows your mind to focus deeply and fully for a much longer period of time than normal. It is truly incredible. And here's the miraculous reward. By 8 a.m. on Monday, before most anyone has even started their day, started their week, I've accomplished more than most anyone will accomplish all week long. Maybe more than they will accomplish in 2 weeks. Because you can get so much done during those 4 to 5 hours in that window of stillness that will allow you to cut out time elsewhere on your work calendar and reallocate it to your summertime fun calendar. So we're at step 9. In this step, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about one of the greatest levers that you have in attempting to keep the monkey-brained minded humans engaged. And that is to turn productive behavior into a game and make work fun. The old adage is true. If you can't beat it, join it. But at least direct it towards productive fun rather than distracted, trivial, and inane fun. Hey, look, nothing captivates the human attention and engagement like a game. It activates all sorts of human faculties: competition, reward, incentive, real-time evidence of progress, recognition, etc. Now, in the summer, attention spans are even shorter, so make your competition short. Maybe 1 to 2 week stints. Of course, have competitions focused on core themes, initiatives, and core production metrics, but give them fun twists and summer fun rewards that members of your team can enjoy together, doubling as a triple threat benefit. 1, the team's full engagement. 2, greater production on those core initiatives through competition. And 3, team bonding activities as a reward. Rewards can be things like tickets for a small group to go to a baseball game, or a sailing outing, or an outdoor concert together, or to a music festival, or to a new restaurant that just opened up in town. You get the point. Look, just like you need to be sure that your kids have productive things to do during the summer, or they are liable to get themselves in all sorts of hooligan activities, or simply just waste their summer away, you have to do the same with your team members in a sort of way. You have to create ways to counteract the natural pulls and temptations and rhythms of the summer season. If you don't, it is just way too easy, and the odds are devilishly against you that you and your team will fall prey to the disaster as it's described, the consequences of the dog. I'll give you a for instance. One year we did a warrior referral contest to see who could encourage the most people to attend an upcoming Insane Productivity Live and Unplugged event that we were doing. You might have seen some of our campaign photos. Last year we did the favorite Darren Daily, hosted by one of our A-team members. The contest was who got the most comments, shares, and likes on their hosted Darren Daily. That was a smash hit. Think about what kinds of competitions that you can organize for your team, focused on key behaviors, vital functions, and key initiatives, but organized in a way that is more fun, with scoring and a big reward. You'll be surprised how people will light up and bring their better, more capable, and far more engaged self to the competitive game board. So number 10 is one of the best strategies to employ in keeping your team engaged. This is the one where you can employ me actually to keep you and your team operating at peak performance and to surge instead of lull through the summer. Strategy number 10 is to create growth groups. This is assembling your team into growth groups who can go on a learning journey together. Now, this is not just a one-time event that can wear off as soon as the event concludes, but one that takes place over a sequenced period of time, keeping everybody engaged from one step to the next, stimulated and collaborating along the same training. It's best, in fact, if the topic is also reinforcing the focus and behavior that you want them to have in their personal productivity. Now, I want to give you a few other keys right here, okay? Because these are really important to understanding how to stimulate learning groups and learning environments inside your office. Here's number one. You want to provide the training in the environment where they have to apply it. You see, too often people leave their home or office, travel to a training event, and then get themselves all pumped up. They come home, unpack their bags, and quickly fall right back into all their previous behavior and habit patterns. The inspiration and implementation need to take place in the same environment where you're learning it and now you're applying it. Key number two, the training can't be a one and done scenario. That is the problem with most training. You go to an event or you create an event, you get everybody fired up, tuned up, and just like stepping away from a warm bonfire on a cold night, all is well when everybody's huddled around together sharing stories and inspiring each other. But as soon as you get up and start walking away from the cozy bonfire and walk into the cold, dark night, the warmth wears off and quickly you're left out there in the cold just as you were before the bonfire event. Training needs to be delivered over a sequenced period of time, allowing for repeated interaction between inspiration, new information, and implementation, then review, now more information, more attempts at implementation, over and over and over again, over an extended sequence period of time. And this is an important one to remember. Jot this one down too. Success is only 10% learning knowledge and 90% activity knowledge, meaning 90% of your growth, success, and improvement is a result of learning by doing the thing that you are being taught, not by a book, a seminar, a blog, or podcast knowledge. In creating success, you can't just learn it intellectually. You will only really learn it when you have learned it experientially. Now, the third and most important key is most often it is not about the knowledge at all. For the most part, you already know what to do. You pretty much know exactly what to do in any area of your life that you want to improve. Put it this way, if you had to give instructions to somebody else, to a friend of yours, on, let's say, how to improve your sales in 3 simple points, you'd know what to tell them. If you had to instruct them on how to be a better husband, a better friend, to lose weight, to be a better leader, anything, the chances are you already know what to do. But the problem is you don't do those things. You don't need more knowledge training, you need behavior training. And behavior is only trained by doing something sequenced over intervals of time with group pressure, competition, collaboration, and accountability. So as an option for you, if you're interested, the class that I promised will be a special summer class of Insane Productivity. It's up to you, totally on you, I'm just giving you the option. It will instantly create a 12-week, 1 module per week learning rhythm that you can engage with as a team. Focus specifically on the tools and methods to radically improving each person's productivity, right when you need them to focus most on those key behaviors. If you're already an Insane alumni, you're welcome to join us by rinsing and repeating yourself. If you and or your team are not yet an Insane Productivity member, then this will be a personal invitation to become a member. An open invitation like this to Insane Productivity rarely comes up and typically sells out by private referral before it's ever even made public. This is an invitation being extended for you since you're right here during this video series so that you can join this special summer class of Insane Productivity. Just go to insaneproductivity.com/summer for the details. As an individual, this is the best thing that you could do to beat back the dog, to keep yourself engaged and get a huge advantage over your peers and your competitors. If you're a leader, this is the smartest thing that you could possibly do to not lose the elusive and all-powerful force of momentum. You don't have to lose the equivalent of that half a year's productivity and progress. You don't have to have your annual goals end in that disaster as described for thousands of years and by Wall Street. This is what can keep everybody focused, energetically engaged, hammering their key functions and nailing their vital metrics, creating insane results insanely fast and sanely so that they can still enjoy the summertime fun that fills the air in your office anyway. That's just an option for you. If not this, I suggest that you organize some form of a growth group with all the mechanics the way that I've described them inside the Insane Productivity Training Program. 12 weeks, sequence training that you can implement, review, discuss as a group, week over week, all focused specifically on improving the behaviors you want most, personal productivity. Okay, my job is done here. Mission accomplished. I promise to give you 10 tips to avoid the disaster of the dog days of summer and to put you in a position to not lull and stall during the summer, but rather surge through it by increasing your productivity and momentum. I'm excited about what this might mean to you, to your business, and to your goals. Instead of the net decline suffered by the rest of the world during the summer doldrums, you will be gaining huge strides on your competition. The momentum that you will have going into the fourth quarter will make you uncatchable and unbeatable, and you will crush it and your goals for the year. Meanwhile, your competition, baffled and bewildered, will still be asking the age-old question.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
Be the exception.